Welcome to the 8th in a series of shows focused on Brookline as an age-friendly community. In 2012, the town of Brookline was selected as the first community in New England to be declared an age-friendly city by the World Health Organization. The result of that was that we focused on age-friendliness since that time. The attributes that brought us there were our housing, transportation, our streets, our schools, our medical support. And the people that brought us there were the citizens of Brookline, the Board of Selectmen, the departments from the government of the town of Brookline, and the volunteer networks like Brookline Can that showed leadership in issues for all ages. This program, we're going to examine the selectmen. And the selectmen were a big force in bringing us to this point. And the Age-Friendly Cities Committee, in fact, reports to the Board of Selectmen. Tonight we have Neil Wyshynski, chairman of the board. And we have, and Neil has come, let's see, he's been on the board for 3-4 years. And this is his second term on the board. And it's also his second term as chair. Neil's background is interesting. He spent 10 years as a town meeting member. He's been 33 years in Brookline, so he knows the place fairly well. He was before a regulator for the Department of Labor, regulating employee benefits. And his background, educational background, MBA from Boston University and a bachelor's from the University of Pennsylvania. During Neil's first term, as a selectman, a lot of things occurred. Some of them we'll talk about today. The Complete Streets policy was put in. Neil was co-chair of that committee. The Proposition 2.5 override was passed during that time, working on the upgrade of our schools and, of course, the devotion school. The park on Fisher Hill went in, and you saw that on the last show, that fabulous park on Fisher Hill. And finally, the affordable housing on Dumma, not finally actually, but the affordable housing on Dumma was put in place. So a lot of things have happened while Neil was here. And I'm going to ask him about them. Welcome, Neil.
Looking forward to it.
Good.
Thank you, Matt, for having me.
Thank you. The first thing I'd like to get into, because we've discussed this back and forth at various times, is the importance in Brookline of development. Right. You know, I see things happening all over. I see plans, I see ideas, and I wonder how they fit in to the town and to age friendliness.
Sure. You know, if you look around the Boston area in general, you see a lot of cranes. You're seeing cranes in the Seaport District, Kendall Square, the Longwood medical area, and those are specific kinds of development that's going on, and it's spilling over into Brookline. The effects of that. In Brookline, we're seeing a lot of housing development,
right.
And we're also seeing a lot of commercial development. And the commercial development especially is the kind of development that we as a town are trying to encourage. Because with commercial development, it doesn't create a demand on the schools, and right. We can also tax it at a higher rate. So it's a way to enhance our tax base and a way to try and pay for a lot of the things our residents are demanding without further burdening the homeowners. So some of the projects that are going on now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've noticed Brookline Place because
right.
It comes across our committee all the time, the discussions of what's happening there, what's next.
Right.
So that's one of our discussions.
So one big news item on that is demolition at Brookline Place has just started. Really? So construction is now beginning, and it's really been 10 years, right. Well, more than 10 years in the making. Doing development in Brookline is tough. our zoning bylaw is very, very complicated.
Right.
And to try and get changes to our zoning bylaw, it has to go through town meeting. And you have to convince a lot of people that this is the way to go. And what people really want is development, but it's development that is sensitive to the neighborhood. And that's what we really have to try to do and have to strive to do. Because, you know,
So what is that neighborhood? When we talk about Brookline Place, are we talking about Brookline Village? Is that do we call it?
Well, it's kind of a transition area, if you think about it, between Brookline Village and the city of Boston. And,
right.
and one of the goals of the way Brookline Place is being developed is to try to extend Brookline Village into that area. So there's going to be a pedestrian connection to the Brookline Village T station.
Yeah, that's one of our concerns. We have on the Age-Friendly Cities Committee, all we talk about is how are we going to cross the streets,
right.
How are the bicycles going to get past, how are the cars going to get past without impacting the rest of them, what's the difference that we're going to have in that environment,
right.
Places to sit,
right.
places to walk.
And all that is being taken into account in the Brookline Place development. There's going to be a very, hopefully, friendly pedestrian streetscape. Right. The architects called it a desire line between the Brookline Village T station and the Brook House. So walking between those 2 points is going to be a lot friendlier than it is today.
Yeah, I brought some pictures on that you had showed me. I don't know if we have it. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
So this is the view from the Brookline Village T-stop. And the intent is to have a streetscape and also have some retail on the first floor, hopefully
Great.
some restaurants or cafes. And that's what you see with the, trying to depict with the umbrellas.
Okay, and this is sort of a view of potential buildings there, or is
Right. So this is the view from the corner of Brookline Avenue and Route 9.
Ah, yes.
As you enter
Right.
Brookline.
Right.
And actually, it's going to look a little different because what this doesn't show, this picture, is the Gateway East development that's going to be changing the streetscape of Route 9. So you see there a bicycle. What you don't see is a bicycle track.
Yeah, right.
And this is going to be the location.
Yes, and I have seen those,
Yeah.
the discussions of those. They're fantastic. I mean,
Right. So there's going to be
I'm sure there'll be more comments, but I
Right.
really, I've noticed that when we brought things up, when we've heard things, there's changes, and you can see what's happening. You can see there's attention, and I hope this continues. Attention to the pedestrian,
Right.
attention to the bicycles, and attention to places to meet and to be. And
Right.
it looks like that's there.
Right, and that's what's there in Brookline Place. And so, other things that are going to be happening in that area. I mentioned Gateway East, and there's also a proposal before town meeting to change the zoning of what's now called the industrial parcel, where there was a gas station at the corner of Route 9 and Brookline Avenue. Now it's the gas station has been leveled. There's a proposal for a hotel, and in the design of that hotel is trying to create a more vibrant streetscape to beef up the entrance to Brookline. So there's hopefully going to be a wider sidewalk, and one of the areas of contention at town meeting is going to be, well, did the committee that formed the zoning create a wide enough sidewalk? Right. And that's going to be a measure of a subject of debate at town meeting.
Right.
But with all these projects, there has to be a balance between what do we want in the streetscape and our vision for the town, and also what's economically viable. because if we can do zoning, but if we impose so many conditions that it's just not economically viable, nothing is going to happen. Or if something happens, it won't be what we want.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next in that area.
Right.
I know that, of course, there's a lot of projects going on. And one of them that we've looked at is the school, and we're going to get to schools later. But as far as development and the sites, and this is our concern. Brookline Can, for instance, I've noticed that they've been coming out with all sorts of talk about the concern about Stop and Shop.
Right.
Now, I've heard you say what you thought would happen there, but I'd like to hear from you.
Right. So as many of our viewers know, our schools are bulging at the seams.
Absolutely.
To the point that we need another elementary school.
Right.
Brookline has 8 elementary schools. They are just bursting, and the kids are here. They've been born. We know they're coming. The trends are there. We need to educate them. So we've been, for the last 3 years, more than 3 years, I've been involved in a search for a site for the 9th school. And the process hasn't been quite as linear as I would have liked.
This is Brookline.
Right, this is Brookline. And Brookline is a built-up community. And you look around town, and there just aren't that many places to put a school. So the search has come down to 3 finalist sites. Excuse me. One site is the adjacent to the Baker School in South Brookline on Beverly Road. So that's site number 1.
Right.
Site number 2 is the Baldwin School, the site of the old Baldwin School, which is a very small school that was used long ago as a K-3 site, and is now used for some special ed programs at the high school and daycare for, I believe, staff children of staff. And then the 3rd site is the site of the Stop and Shop on Harvard Avenue.
My favorite store.
Yes. and the vision there is not to close the supermarket, but to create a mixed-use development where the end result would be a bigger and better supermarket. So there's been a lot of talk. The town is going to take the Stop and Shop away from us. No, the town isn't going to do that. The goal, if we go with that site, is to have a development partner where the end result is we have a school and a supermarket side by side. And there are pros and there are cons to that kind of approach.
So the only thing I would like to bring in there is that if while building it, you had to close that, and I'm bringing the age-friendly side of it in, if you had to close it for any period of time, there are people who really can't shop other places. And if they had to, that would end their ability to go there. I mean, we've had committees and there have been people working at just getting it easier for people to cross to the Stop and Shop.
Right.
So, so I think you are aware of the.
I am aware of that, and a lot of those concerns have been raised with us, and if we go with that site, that we would have to deal with that in some way. One idea could be shuttle service to another store. But before we even go there, we have to make a site selection.
Right.
And that site selection is going to we're currently on track to have a site selection decision. The schedule is for October 13th.
Oh, great.
So within a few weeks after this airs, hopefully we'll have a site decision.
Okay, good. So we heard the date here.
Right. And hopefully it won't get pushed back.
And I'll keep my opinions to myself at this point. But
and I'll keep mine to myself, too.
I want to hear yours. There's a couple of other things there that when I thought of that supermarket down there, it dawned on me also that, and I don't live there, but Brookline Village has no supermarket. How do you do things like plan or encourage different kinds of retail or different kinds of business?
Yeah, you can encourage it through zoning and through our active economic development office. We have a fantastic economic development director who's very plugged in and aggressive in trying to help landlords find tenants. Cara Bruton,
okay. Yes, I've
who's
seen it.
ably assisted by Andy Martineau. And the two of them as a team are phenomenal. The more I work with the both of them, the more impressed I am. They're just great people. But in the end, we're limited by the real estate that we have. If you look at Brookline Village, you say, okay, maybe we should have another supermarket there. Then I say to you, where? There's just no. There isn't a big storefront that we could offer, or a landlord could offer to a supermarket chain. And if you look at the direction of supermarkets, well, you look at the Whole Foods over on Beacon Street by St. Mary's. So there you have a very small Whole Foods that seems to be doing quite well, and it's really a success story in that part of town. But we don't even have a space that is even that big in Brookline Village. I can't even think of where you could combine stores in Brookline Village to come up with that kind of space.
So we have the housing plan that's coming out shortly, right?
Right.
So I'll look forward to seeing in that. Maybe we can identify spaces and.
Well, the housing plan is focusing on housing with an emphasis on affordable housing, and that really is one of the big issues in Brookline, that the price of housing has gone through the roof, and a lot of that is due to market factors and the desire for people to be moving back into the city.
So the issue there, can we move on to affordable housing? Because certainly that's a subject we're right in the middle of. I mean, we have the Kehilloth Israel site, and I've seen that. I know a few of them.
That is an exciting project that I'm so looking forward to working with Jewish Community Housing for the Elderly. Right. It's a great organization. Amy Schechtman, the director, is a wonderful person. So my question there is, on that site, on each of the others, each of the ones I've seen, and I've sort of looked around before we came on, they all seem to have fairly high density as compared to what's in those sites now. Right. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean? In order to do affordable housing, and given the way land values are, that the trade-off is going to be density, because it doesn't. You can't do affordable housing as a single-family home, or even given the land values as a 2 or 3 family. It just doesn't work. So we're seeing projects like JCHE, Jewish Community Housing for the Elderly. We're also seeing some other projects. We just had one come online, an all-affordable project over at Dummer Street, which was built by the Brookline Housing Authority. Well, that's nice. In some ways, that's. But the JCHE project is going to be all affordable, but different levels of affordability. Right. It's not just going to be the lowest level of affordability, but the real trend in the housing market, as I understand it, is not to do all affordable projects, but to do a mixed income projects where a certain percentage is affordable, being subsidized by market rate. So is that the 40B sites that come in? Yes. The ones that come in under the 40B, they seem to have like 20% or something. They have 20%, and if you're going to do a project of more than, I want to say 15 units, actually I think it's 6 units, more than 6 units under Brookline's regular zoning, you must have 15% affordable it's called the inclusionary zoning. But what 40B allows a developer to do is defeat our zoning if they pledge to put 20% affordable housing and then meet some other requirements. And many of those projects are controversial because some of the projects just pay no attention to our zoning.
Right. Yeah, that's a problem, I think.
Yeah, some of the projects just seem very, very big for the sites, right. And really the process is stacked against the town. Right. So there are ways we can try to guide the process and make the projects a little more fitting into the community, but some of the projects, there's one finishing up now on Marion Street that just seems very big to me, and that's a 40B.
Right, I drive past that all the time, actually.
But we just permitted
45 Marion, right?
Yeah, 45 right. Marion. We just permitted a 40B on Crown Shield Road.
Oh, okay.
That started out at it's a small lot. It started out at 20 units, and then through a process and a negotiation with the developer, is coming in at 8 units. Two of the 8 are affordable, and the end result in that project, I think the neighbors are happy with it.
Great.
So 40B, it meets a need certainly.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for affordable housing, but I'm all for housing and development in general that fits into the neighborhood.
Right.
And I think that's very important.
I think we all are. The question: complete streets.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm convinced that we're going to have development. I'm convinced that we're going to have affordable housing. I don't think it's going to be easy, any of these, but you keep working at it, and that's good. The complete streets, you were on the committee that actually formed that. What does it mean to have a complete streets policy? I have it in my hand. I printed it out, okay? I printed it out. It's impressive to me. I mean, it really, just reading it. What does it mean? How does that impact anything that occurs?
So now, for the first time, Brookline has as a policy that when we redo a street, that we must consider all forms of transportation, be they automobiles, bicycles, pedestrians. Before
benches, I see.
Excuse me.
Benches, I see. Things like that.
And we need to pay more attention to the streetscape. Now, Brookline actually, you look at some of our streets, and they really have the elements of a complete street policy.
Yes, absolutely. There's spots here.
Because a lot of the Brookline streets were laid out before cars, so some of the areas of town that were developed in the 40s and 50s and 60s, mainly in South Brookline, have less elements of complete streets. They're less walkable. They're more car-oriented.
Absolutely.
But even over the years in our more urban section, the car has been king. So recently, we've been paying more attention to making our crosswalks more visible, trying to widen where we can our sidewalks, creating better bicycle accommodations. And as I said, at Gateway East, down by Brookline Place, we're putting in our first cycle track where we're going to be physically separating the bicycles. And there's been a lot of movement in the whole Boston area to make Boston more bicycle friendly.
As Aaron Galentine was on the last show, but we have people in Coolidge Corner area that have been working at various areas of open spaces trying to get things done. And they're having a celebration, in fact, this week of John and Green. There's a little park.
Right.
It's just been added to a street near the library.
Yes.
And I said, well, it's a little, and then I went by and it was wonderful. It's a place for people to stop and talk. And every time I've been past there are people chatting and people sitting together with, so those are the kinds of things. When I meant benches, I meant places to talk, places to
And I think you know, that's an example.
Besides the phone.
Yeah. That's an example of taking a space that really was just sitting there,
right,
and making it a friendly place for people to congregate and socialize, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be seeing more of that.
Yeah, using spaces, using the parking lots, using the various areas, and using them and making a little more out of it, and making it a little more friendly and a little more.
So what the Complete Street Policy does is it formalizes that process, that way of thinking into all of the town's projects, and we're not going to be reliant on any particular advocacy group pushing any particular project.
Right.
It's just going to be part of our policy, and just hopefully, as time goes on, it'll just become more and more baked into every project.
That's great. I did see the Transportation Board, who had a bicycle advisory committee and had a public transportation advisory committee, has now created a pedestrian advisory committee.
Right.
So you've got, which is in line with the kind of thing in the Complete Streets Policy, where your influence and your department should be affected by all of the areas. And I hope to see that in effect soon. I mean, it hasn't
I hope so
actually
too.
been started. But,
right. And, you know, I know the bicycle community has been very vocal and very active.
That's great.
And very effective in advocating, not only in Brookline, but throughout the Boston metro area. An example right on Brookline's border of effective advocacy by the bicycle community is the bike lane is going in on, a bicycle track is going in on Commonwealth Avenue, right along the Brookline border.
That's excellent.
Down by Babcock.
I know exactly. Well, I've tried to ride a bike there, and
you're taking your life into your hands. You have the painted bicycle lane.
I tried to avoid it. Yeah, I tried.
But there have been a couple of fatalities in that area.
Really?
It can be very dangerous.
Yeah. No, they've been effective, the bicycle committee, and I would love to see pedestrians be doing the same thing.
Well, I hope.
You know, we've been talking so long. We're reaching the end, and I'm really sorry, because I could go on for another couple of shows.
That one's quick.
I could easily go on for another couple of shows, because you've got so much. You're involved in so many different things and know so much about what's happening. I'd love you to come back sometime.
Sure.
Okay. I do want to say goodbye to everybody, and thank you, first of all. Thank Selectman Wyszynski, or Chair Wyszynski. And I want to remind everybody that this show is rebroadcast several times during the week, that it's available on the Brookline Can Twitter site and the Brookline Can website. That's the Community Aging Network, which is for all ages. So, but thank you, and please come again to the next show.